Hey smokers, Drago1 here. Normally in my videos, when I start doing a project, I don't really thoroughly research it. I've been over that a couple times. And I just go straight full steam ahead, trying to figure out just how to do it and see if I can do it without looking up anything. Because, to be honest, a lot of times we wouldn't have any of my videos if it weren't for that sort of strategy. If I just looked everything up and said, oh yeah, you can't do that, then maybe I wouldn't actually have made the video, and maybe I wouldn't have actually learned some things. So, today we're going to be doing something kind of similar to that. My actual end goal in this is somewhat unclear. But the current thing we're going to work on is getting a bunch of my Mac Minis, my G4 Mac Minis. Unlike the other video where I was preparing some Intel Mac Minis, I'm going to get Kubuntu or Kubuntu or whatever. Just like I did in the Power Mac G5 video, I'm going to get Linux installed on as many of my G4 Mac Minis as possible. So here we have my current pile of ready-to-go Mac Minis. Now, before I started making this video, I prepared this one. It already has an installation of Kubuntu or whatever already on it, so it's ready to go. But this process was extremely fucking slow. Like, trying to install off of a CD on this was agony. I mean, agony. But what I did was to speed up the process for the rest of these is I made a DD image of its hard disk and put it on the Linux machine that's over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that image and put it onto one of these. Now this was 80 gigs, so it's actually an 80 gig image. So I'm going to put it onto another 80 gig. One of these is a better one, this one probably, so that it perfectly fits. I could put it on a 150, but then the partition would have to be resized. If I try to put it on a 40, it'd be like, what the hell? I might have to do some fixing there or do a fresh install onto the 40 gig instead, and then use that as the base one to go on the bigger ones. I could have done it a lot better. But first, if we're going to get all of these, get in a full install base on it, all of these, the fastest way to do it is through DD. Doing installation off of optical media is going to be way too slow, so screw that. So let's just go with probably this one, because this one has some question marks. I think there might be something wrong with this guy. So we'll do this one, and it's going to be identical to this one, so they'll have the exact same host name. So if they're both on the same network, that might be a problem. I have to change the host name. So we're going to just set this aside. This one works. This one boots up. That one's fine, just like the Mac Pro, or sorry, the Power Mac G5 did. Now, of course, to get ready, we don't really need to plug it into that. We can put this in kind of a headless mode. Plug in power, plug in FireWire. This is connected to the Linux machine, and that's really all you need, except you do need keyboard, and then we turn it on. Hold the T key to get us into target disk mode, and while we're doing that, I'm going to log us in to the Linux machine. Maybe we do need to plug this into monitor just to see if I can tell if it's working or not. Nothing. Alright, let me unplug this. I've got a strange feeling that these G4 Mac Minis don't like running headless. Yeah, there he goes. So, then we unplug the DVI, we'll auto switch to the VGA, and we still don't see anything. What happened? Okay, so it didn't actually mount because it has no file system whatsoever. It probably just has a partition table, and it still has some sort of issue, but this is not going to be an issue. We're just going to run a DD command to take an image file onto a physical device and hope that it will do that. Now, the file is pretty big. It's, again, 74 gigs, so it's going to take a long time to DD this file over. I use some of the advice from some of the people who commented on some of my past videos about using DD, and they left some pretty fantastic advice, so thank you for that. I'll be using some of those tips to run a DD command. So let me go get the hard disk that has the image on it, and then we can get kicking with this. So for some reason I decided to disconnect this from this. So that's the bootable Linux drive. This is my DD images drive. There's that, and where's the power? Jesus. There we go. Now we should have both the blank Mac Mini and the DD images disk. Okay, we're in. Okay, so basically we have our images disk. We don't want to touch this. And this right here, dev/sdd. So that should be good. So we want to go move the window so you can see it. So that right there is the old command I used. As you can see, I wrote Kubuntu ppc.img to the images. But now we have to flip this around. Now, can we easily flip it around by just changing 2 characters? Maybe. I don't know if it matters what order you put this in. So, and what do you mean by changing 2 characters? Let me just go back here. So, this is output file system. We actually want that to be input file system. And we want input file system to actually be output file system. If they're in a different order, will that fuck it up? I don't know. Maybe. And this actually needs to be SD. D. Okay. So, if this fucks up, I lose a lot of data. Actually, some of it I did back up already, so I think we should be okay. So let's go ahead and start this, I guess. This is really the extent of what we need to do. I don't need to unmount anything. I do have to mount this, because this is the actual location of our file. So it's going to be going from here, because media, drawing images, media, drawing images is the input file system. Output file system is dev/sdd, which is the same as this. I think that says that anyway. So there we go. We're about to start the DD command to start writing directly over FireWire 400 the information that we took off the other computer to make it identical. So I'm going to press enter here and hope we don't erase something. Well, this is good news, and it's going about as slow as I would expect it to go. The write speed of the drive inside the Mac Mini is slower than its read speed. Before I was getting about, I want to say, 30 megabytes per second. I can't remember, but this actually does make sense, and as you can see, the disk image right here has not been deleted, and it is still 70 gigs. So it is, I believe it is reading from there. And I guess the G4 Mac Mini is now getting that data. And now we just gotta wait for a long fucking time because we have only transferred a half of a gig. So it's gonna take over 2 hours at this rate to do this. Which arguably, in terms of a interaction level stuff, actually beats out the total installation time off of optical media. We're going over FireWire 800 or 400 right now. The only way to get this any faster would be to open up the Mac Mini, take the drive out, and then let it transfer and yeah, in a sled or something. And I don't actually have. I do have a hookup for that. It actually would be faster. I think maybe USB 2 speeds. So we're going to have to come back to this. No real way around this very long time. I was not expecting it to take quite this long, but I guess we'll see if it's actually bootable. Okay, so since this is going to take a very long time, in hours, why don't we just get familiarized with the source volume? This is the data from this is literally going on to this, but theoretically faster, I suppose. It's not a direct transfer. It's this had to go into an image file first, as you saw. So we'll very carefully push this aside. So we can plug the. Yes, it is still transferring. I'm watching the transfer rate. So we'll go ahead and take the another 85 watt power adapter here. We're now running 2 of them, and we'll also need keyboard, and I'll have to go find a mouse. Only 2 USB ports on these. They really improved the newer ones by giving them just a billion USB ports. So that's good. So we have input, output, video, and power. Oh, Lord. Okay, so let's switch over to the monitor. This is actually booting a lot faster than I thought it was going to be. I'm not even fully focused yet. I started the timer a couple seconds after I pressed the power button. We're about 1 minute, which is pretty good. These are mechanical drives from 2005 earlier? And we're already on the desktop. Something that could have been accomplished very easily with earlier versions of Mac OS X, like Tiger and back. Those actually started up pretty dang quick in their day. So yeah, for those of you who watched the Power Mac G5 video, I used the exact same disk. This is exactly the same install disk I used to install on the Power Mac G5. So if you want to see a similar video, go watch that video. It only comes with 1 desktop background image. Now I can plug this into Ethernet and we can go online, or at least we should be able to. This is Kubuntu 12.04, so it's not too old, but it's definitely a lot newer than anything that this computer would ever be able to run. Okay, I just snapped in the Ethernet cable. And it does have a little green check mark down in the corner there. So we are online. Now the web browser we have to choose from is Reconq, which is probably outdated. I could probably get Firefox on this, no problem. In fact, why don't we just do that? Oh, it's called Console with a K. Very cute. I'm already at a bad angle, and now it's so tiny and far away. Jesus. Okay, so sudo. I don't even remember what I set my password as. Hopefully it was just ASDF or something. apt-get install. See if Firefox has a PowerPC build. There we go. Do you want to continue? Sure. It's not exactly going fast. This is plugged in directly into my router. I guess it's a 10100 Ethernet port, so that's probably what's happening. 7 minutes now, it's estimated. Why is it going so slow? Is this how it always is when you're downloading repositories? I mean, I guess. Well, I guess we now have another wait operation we need to wait for on a terminal window. I guess we'll be back. So actually, this has some form of energy saving turned on or something because the screen turned off and then, so I think it finished. I can't really see from here, but the screen turned off and then it switched back to the other monitor. So not a big deal, but just kind of annoying. So we're going to close this out for now. Take a look at the menu here and see if Firefox is now on there. And Firefox browser installer? Okay, I guess we're installing. Oh, there it is. So, it loaded. Okay, well, we're a couple frames into the video. It did get part way into the video, but I don't think this has anywhere near the processing power to handle this video, which is not really surprising. Wait a minute, it's already set to 360p, and it's running this bad? What? I can't set it to 240? Oh, shit. Just to look back at our progress here. I don't know if you can see it, but 50 gigs so far. So let's see if it will let us switch back over. Well, I never thought I'd say this, but I actually failed to, or at least in my first attempt, to change my desktop wallpaper. The fuck? Yeah, this computer is agonizingly slow. Like, why am I even doing this? I'm not actually sure what I'm going to do with these Mac Minis yet, but I know for certain that if I want to have them do some basic tasks, like we're talking about, like Raspberry Pi level tasks, then they're going to have some sort of, at least sort of modern Linux on it, or it's just not going to be really that usable. I could figure out a way to get it into text mode only so it's faster. Probably should have installed some sort of server OS, but that all can be figured out down the road. As soon as we have an install base of Linuxed up Mac Minis, then we can use them for different projects. Let's take a look at how our transfer is going. So luckily the transfer is still going. We're at the 60 gig mark. It's about 14 gigs left to go. It's definitely not going to get done tonight, so we'll have to wait until morning. This might get done. We may actually know, maybe in a couple minutes, I'm not sure. We'll see. Okay, so after way too fucking long, it's done. It's actually done. It actually finished. And unbelievably, I didn't do anything, but if you look right here, it says 79 gigabyte volume. That was not there before. So does that mean that it's mountable? Fuck's my mouth. I mean, I suppose it is. Let's click on it. Holy shit. This is an install of Linux here. You can see everything. Let's take a look at gparted. And where we once saw bullshit and nothing, we now see there's still, for some reason, an HFS partition, but I think we need that for PowerPC. ext4 and the Linux swap partition. Where did those come from? Oh wait, I was doing that outside of the camera view. Yeah, here you go. Yeah, HFS plus. Yeah. Boom! So, does that mean our little dude is bootable? Let's close this shit out. See if this was successful. The problem is it takes 2 hours per Mac Mini. So, and with gparted, we could expand partitions for the bigger drives, so that's pretty cool. So let's, we don't actually need to shut this off at all. I just need to unmount this, and then we can unplug it. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit hard to demonstrate, actually. And the reason for that is that you got two almost identical computers with two almost identical operating systems, and they both have the exact same desktop wallpaper, so they're going to look exactly the same. So right now we have our Kubuntu right there running off of this, and this one is just in target disk mode. So if I switch over, then we got our target disk mode. So let's pull that. We can just turn this off now. Plug this back in. Is our Kubuntu? Let me just bring something up on the screen so we can just see the difference here. Well, this is what I was trying to set the desktop wallpaper to, but everything's like laggy as crap and crashing. So let's take the, oh god, the other Mac Mini here. This is our destination. We're going to go ahead and turn it on. Unplug that. Plug that in. And I don't know if it's outputting video now, but probably not, because it's in startup mode and it hates doing that in startup mode, so I'm going to have to actually shut it down again. It's not a good time for it to shut down, but we'll do it anyway. Power it on and hope. Hey, there it is. Kubuntu. It's doing it. It's starting. So actually, these Mac Minis are probably exactly the same in a lot of ways. They're probably the same like model and stuff because they have exactly the same size hard disk. And here's the startup screen. And this is what it looked like before I started the video. I can't control it because I don't have anything plugged into it, but it actually worked. The DD from one Mac Mini to another actually works. Holy piss, that's almost annoyingly simple. That's easier than we had it in the last Mac Mini video where I had to install a whole nother operating system and use Super Duper and but this is sector for sector correct, but we just copied and wasted hours worth of time copying zeros to this drive. So that's a bunch of balls. Let me go ahead and swap the cable just so you can see, because there's not much to tell apart from these two computers. Plug it into the other one, and oh, some other stuff happened here while we were waiting. So yeah, here's the other Mac Mini running the identical operating system with the same host name. Gonna have to change that, but not a big deal because now we got two of them working now. And close this shit out. Now, I don't know how much RAM which one has over the other, but again, they're both just chilling down here. So this is no longer blank 80 gig. That is now Kubuntu 80 gig. Second copy. It's the worst thing I've ever written. Okay, so there you have it. We have both the Mac Minis now identical. Kubuntu PowerPC. This is 80 gigs. And this is pretty much an identical Mac Mini here in almost every way. I'm going to do the rest to the other Mac Minis you see in the background at some point. I don't really have an application or something to use with them yet, but now that we have a pipeline for how to get another Mac Mini up and running with a semi-ish modern operating system, these little throwaway clunkers, maybe I can actually do something with them. Thanks everybody for watching, and have a good one. Man, what am I going to do with all these extra broken Mac Minis? Oh, I know. Give the gift this holiday season of a Mac Mini.